Welcome to the Simply Real Life podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of Simply Real Health, here to help you simplify, amplify, and elevate your life. This show is for those of you who want the real talk on how to live a more intuitive and intentional life, a life that's healthy from the inside out, and one that feels more effortless, aligned, simple, and more alive. We cover it all, from health, wellness, mindset, motherhood, daily habits and rituals, to business and relationships, creativity and growth, and tiny tricks to feeling your best, and the energetics behind it all filled with personal stories, unfiltered conversations, and of course, answering all of your burning questions, all in the way of simplicity and keeping it real, so that you can create your own version of your healthiest life. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome back to the show this week. This week, we're going to talk about something so near and dear to my heart, which is the most underrated tip, this little secret tip, for having a better relationship to food. If any of you have not listened to the episode where I talk about my story and journey with food, I'm pretty sure it's the first or the second episode of this show. That might be a great place to start, because I'm going to start building on that story. I am somebody that had a terrible relationship to food for so many years, like most of my youth years, all through, I would say even late elementary school, all through middle school, definitely high school and college too. It pretty much spans my whole life growing up, but I didn't even really know it. I was not aware of a relationship to food, of a good one versus one that was not as healthy. I don't think it was ever talked about back then. And it was something that I really didn't even realize that I had going on, because it was all just in my head and how I was thinking about food and talking to myself about it and how I was working out. And this mentality that was very all or nothing, very perfectionistic, very extreme. And there were all these things that I considered good food, and these were bad foods. And it was so wrapped in diet culture, and it was based on whatever diet was popular at the time, whatever I happened to be following and whatever I happened to be reading, which, yes, by the way, in middle school, I was reading about diets and I was reading about food, and it came from such a good place. I've always had this passion for healthy living and wanting to be healthy way before it was called something cool like wellness. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and something that I have learned that's wow, this is really what my heart loves. And as I was younger, I didn't know the difference, because we were never taught anything about food in a way that's not biased. And it's, at least at the time that I grew up, it was all about different diet foods or different methods or different ways of eating. And I was interested in it all. So it came from a pure place. But I think that obsession that I had, which I know so many of us have and sometimes don't even realize, because we've been so steeped in that way of thinking because of marketing, because of different messages. And I see it now, it's a little different because it's more on social media and TikTok, people who are talking about ways of eating that maybe work for them, but without having a steadier knowledge about food as your baseline, as your foundation. It's so easy to be swayed to different things or what other people are doing or whatever's cool or popular or trending at the time. So I share all this as the intro because I didn't even know that there was such thing as a relationship to food. And what I mean by that is being able to eat and enjoy food that's good for you, maybe food that's not as nutrient dense, but that you don't have this connection mentally to what you're eating, and then you equate it to yourself being good or bad, or that there's any shame involved in eating or any guilt, when you're so wrapped up in your head and you have this constant stream of voices or outside noise coming from whatever source it's coming from. And that being the main way that you're either learning about food or thinking about food. And that being contrasted with what I would consider a healthier relationship to food is being able to love and enjoy good food, and then not having these feelings of I shouldn't have eaten that, or why did I do that, or regret, or feeling like You need to be restricting things. Having a good relationship to food means that you trust your body, you trust food, and you feel like the two are not at odds, and that you're at a place where you can be more intuitively eating. You're eating, you're enjoying. If you're just eating and it's all about eating perfectly, you're missing one of the biggest components, which is joy in your food and savoring and loving and enjoying the pleasure that is food and the beauty that is the food in our life. I mean that in both ways. The stuff that's going on mentally for you, but then also it's the appreciation, the pleasure, the joy, the beauty. Are you able to sink into that, or are you more preoccupied with, was that good for me? Was that bad for me? Was that on my plan or off my plan? Or I don't feel great the next day. Why did I do that? And then beating yourself up. So I think there can be a lot of different definitions of it. For some people, it's more about the mental space and how they're talking to themselves. For others, it's about that component and that nutrient of joy. Are you able to eat a meal and slow down and taste the textures and the flavors and really appreciate it and respect food and love it? Or is it like a second thought and you're just trying to shove food in to move on with your day, and you feel like cooking is annoying and stopping to eat is annoying, and it's that mentality of appreciation and love and joy versus this is one more chore that I have to do. So it can span, I think, a lot of different things. Today, I want to talk about what I think is the most underrated tip to dig you out of that and start to put you on a path towards that happier and healthier, more balanced and more peaceful relationship to food. Because for me, that has been such a long journey to actually get to that place where I not only understood food and was more educated and empowered by it, so that then I could make better decisions, and I knew like what foods were actually good for my body, not based on any diet, but on wholesomeness, on nutrient density and the wisdom of my body, and learning to trust that and how my body works with food, understanding that at a basic level. And then also working my way slowly to the point I really can honor food and love it and enjoy it, even when it's not perfect food or healthy food, quote unquote, that you still have this element of respect and being able to be present with your food. So here it is. The most underrated tip to starting that process of having a better relationship to food has to start with eating real food and doing that as your norm. And I say that, and I know that so many of you are going to roll your eyes or maybe turn this off and like, well, that's not a tip. But I want to explain to you this deep connection that starts to happen when you do eat real food and you take it seriously. Like a lot of people will hear that and be like, yeah, I kind of already do that. There are so many people that I see out there that I meet, that I know in real life, that do think they eat real food, but they don't because they've never actually learned what that is. And for me, that was exactly where I was too, where it's like, where do you even learn that stuff? Because it's not taught in school. All we learn about is the food pyramid or the plate or whatever they're teaching now, but which is just steeped in like whatever food industries are paying to be on that government standard way of eating. It's not actually how our bodies are meant to eat, how we digest things best, how we assimilate them, having this understanding of what it is and what it's not, and doing so in a simple and easy way. So for real food, I think there's so many more details and nuances to it that most people either don't know about, think that they're already doing it, or that they just assume is fine because that's the way they've always been eating. So thinking about this in terms of like, okay, is it truly real food and is it not? That's the first question, is knowing the education behind it so that you can be empowered in making better decisions and knowing how to look at your ingredient labels, and you become your own guru versus listening to all these outside opinions and outside noise and outside information versus, is this real? Is it something that's been around forever? Is it something that's normal? Is it something that's natural? Is it something that across different cultures and continents in the world that this food has been around for a long time? Because chances are, if it is a food like that, our bodies are genetically designed to digest and process that food easily. But nowadays, there's so many options for food, and there's so much more processed food and processed health food, and learning the difference between real food, and processed health food can be one of the best ways that you spend even just a little bit of time teaching yourself, because it's something that will impact your life so deeply as you move forward. And this is something that I'm so passionate about teaching, and so passionate about more people having access to this and what that means and what the specifics are, so that more people can be empowered by this. And it's not a secret. It's something that you can easily learn and do. Even within a couple hours, you could get that education, and then how that impacts things moving forward. And here's how it impacts things. It's immediate, and almost within 2 weeks of truly making the transition to eating mostly real food, not about perfection, obviously, but as your basic go-tos, the things that you consume the most, as your staples, the meals that you cook, or wherever you're getting food out to eat, that you are looking at it through the lens of, is this real food or not? Because if your ultimate goal is to have a better relationship to food, it has to start on this physical level of the actual food itself, of eating real food. Because when you eat real food, not only can your body decode it better, which means you're spending less time and effort and energy digesting, processing for your body to figure out what to do with the food that's not actual real food, all the health food, all the diet food, all of the stuff that's marketed to us as being healthy. But in reality, when you look at the ingredients, you don't recognize what those things are. Your body has the same reaction when it's trying to decode and process stuff in our digestive system. If it can't recognize it, it slows everything down. You divert so much energy in your body for your body to figure out what to do with these food products and foreign food substances that are not easily recognizable by the body. It just slows everything down, clogs the system. It takes away so much energy to be eating food that is not real. And a lot of people don't know or notice that connection, because until you start eating real food as your norm and your body gets in this rhythm of like, oh, wow, it's working easily. I feel really good. The food that you are eating is giving your body something. It's giving it nutrients every single time you eat, whether that's a burger or you're eating a potato or you're eating a strawberry or it's a piece of broccoli. Like every real food out there has so many nutrients that are completely bioavailable immediately to your body. So when you are in the rhythm of eating the real stuff, the nutrient-dense stuff more consistently, that's when your body can have this experience of, oh, wow, we're not wasting all this energy and time trying to figure out what to do with these food products that you're trying to put in and that are confusing us and slowing us down. Starting to think that you are becoming a better partner to your body. You're not putting stuff in that it can't decode and that can't use, and that's slowing the system down completely. So not only are you getting more nutrients and it's less of a load on your body, therefore you're going to experience more energy in your day because it's not all being diverted to your digestive system trying to figure out what to do. Not only those things, but eating real food also starts to steady out your blood sugar naturally, truly, where your cells are getting more nutrients. The more that you're building up the stores of that, your body's mechanisms start to work more smoothly. So when you're eating real food, it's very rare that you'll experience or have massive blood sugar spikes, which is the whole reason why we get hangry or you get cravings or you just feel like you can go from so high and then crash so far down, where you become and operate in this space that is so much more steady and peaceful and consistent, where it's not this panic feeling of getting hungry, but it comes on a little bit more slowly. With that, you start to sleep better. Your circadian rhythm starts to happen more naturally because you're having more energy during the day. You probably need less of a reliance on things like caffeine, especially late into the afternoon. You don't get the afternoon slumps. Therefore, you're going to sleep better at night because you don't have all these stimulants in your body, and you're going to sleep better and deeper. And when all those things start working, and this can happen, honestly, even within 2 weeks of transitioning to mostly real food, all of these things start to physically shift. And when they do, that is what starts to awaken your body, where you are feeling so much more steady, you're feeling so much more alert and energized, and then you can start noticing more in your body. You can start noticing the ways that it's talking to you. Is it hungry? Is it full? What types of food is it wanting more or feeling like it does really well with? You can take such an easier inventory of how you actually feel when there's not so much chaos going on in the body. This is where real food is so much about simplifying things. It automatically simplifies so much because it removes all of this extra clutter and all the random foods that we eat and we're not really being intentional about. When you have the focus of real food, you start paying more attention to what that is, and you start becoming a little bit more choosy about what you are putting in. And when that starts to happen, you have this feeling starts to happen in your brain too. So it starts with this physical change in our body of elevating it and actually supporting it and not doing things that are self-sabotaging all the time. When you get out of the way, the body can get to work, and it does, and quickly. And when it does, there's this sense of lightness and freedom. Okay, I understand. I'm feeling so much better. Don't you think when you feel so much better, everything in life becomes easier to handle or manage or deal with? When you feel energized and when you feel rested and when you feel like you're more steady and stable because your blood sugar is more stable, you don't have these cravings, you don't have these massive ups and downs. When you feel in that steady, peaceful place, that has an impact on how you're thinking, the thoughts that you actually think, and your moods and your emotions. It's all connected. So this is why I say when your body is actually nourished, that is the foundation, because that's the starting point of these mental shifts and then these emotional shifts. And when you're in that energy of I'm feeling really good, I'm not doing anything extreme, you can still have real food versions of ice cream and cookies and brownies and coffee and glasses of wine, cheese, whatever it is. There's so much out there that is real food, and there are versions of things that are real food where you don't have to be really giving things up that you love. That's where you can build this foundation of starting to have a better relationship to food, because not only are you understanding your body, but there's less chaos. You're starting to like quiet the noise a little bit in order to understand and start to hear your own body signals and what it's telling you and what it's feeling good with and the things maybe it's not feeling good with. Because even under the umbrella of real food, there are always going to be certain categories or types of food that your body in particular does better with, and certain categories that maybe you don't do as great with. And so the only way to know is to go through this process of figuring it out, because it's something that if you do once, you then have this connection to your body where you're able to be a little bit more intuitive with how you eat, because you can know and understand how your body feels with certain things. But when you're not eating real food and when there's so many variables going on and it's hard to figure out, and you're maybe not feeling so great or sleeping so great, your digestion's off, or you're having hormonal issues or skin issues, or it's like there's too much clogging the system. So real food has this way of simplifying all of those inputs to just thinking about simple, clean, pure. Has it existed for a long time? Can my body flourish with this? Or is this something that's going to take away energy versus giving me energy? I feel like so many people, if they understood that connection, it's like this really so much easier to live this way when you naturally feel really good. And when there's not so much chaos and so much noise and so many opinions, it's like you can finally just start to focus and quiet all that down and start to listen to your body. And that leads to this entire next level of things, learning your hunger and how your mood and your emotions and daily stressors impact how we eat, what we eat. Are we using food as a coping mechanism? It can go so many layers deeper. But in the process to, like, let's say our goal is really a better relationship to food, this is the step you cannot skip. You can't gloss over it. Knowing what real food is and starting to show up for yourself in that way will change so much mentally, physically, and emotionally, which then changes your entire energy around food, around your life, your ability to handle things when it's not easy, or when your kids are annoying you, or when there's just other stuff going on in life, makes it so much easier to handle things in this steady, calm way. This is exactly why I spend so much time and pour so much love into programs like Simply Real Life, the method, because this is the chance that I give people to deep dive on this and experience this for yourself and go through this process once in your life. Simply Real Life, the method, is a 6-week process, and I run it live every spring. We're getting ready to open it up at the end of April. And it's this process that once you do, you come out of it so deeply connected to your body, educated about food, knowing how to navigate any situation with food, and knowing how to do that with ease, knowing what types of food makes you feel better and which make you feel not so great, and what are different options and alternatives and versions of real food treats and delights that just make life so worth living. It's not about deprivation. It's about making this transition to real food and then taking you through all the layers of what that starts to lead to, like this deeper connection to yourself, this trust in your body, this deeper trust in food. And because I feel so passionate about teaching about real food, because that's a first step and it's the foundation for everything that can come after it, that elevates your life and just makes healthy living possible, that feels more effortless and fun and free and like it's flexible, and is this just very easy way that you can be living day to day and feeling great. Because I feel so passionate about that, and I know that not everyone is wanting to go through the full 6-week experience where we get so deep in the method of how our emotions and stress and how it's all connected, and our nervous system, and talking about masculine and feminine, just all of these concepts that then start to connect more and more. And are you living in true alignment with yourself, with how you feel best? Do you know yourself? Do you know the things that you love and help you thrive, and the things that suck your energy? And we talk about boundaries. I mean, we really get deep in there. I'm so excited to announce a brand new version of a program that I've never done before called Get Real. And Get Real has been inspired by this concept of, if I could teach more women, more people about real food and the details around it and what you need to know and what you can ignore, and truly becoming that more empowered person around food, if you learn that once, could take you like as little as a couple hours for something that will impact your life so deeply. That's what Get Real is all about. I take you through the beginning, the foundational pieces of this, that you can actually learn all of this information, what we should have been learning in school, and give it to you in a way that's simple and easy to understand so that you can start implementing it. Because with that foundation, everything else becomes possible and much easier to do. And instead of struggling through all of these different ways and methods and always feeling like you haven't quite nailed it or figured it out, or why can't you get to a place where you feel good in your body, or where you feel like you're not struggling with these random health things all the time, inflammation or digestive issues or hormonal issues or skin issues or autoimmune stuff, that you get to this place where you can fully know and understand and trust your body, know what's going on, know, understand, and trust food, know what to look for, how to navigate almost any situation. That's what this is about. So I'll put more details below. Again, Simply Real Life, the method, is coming up. This is the program that I run live every year. We do live weekly coaching calls together, and it's just this beautiful energy of transformation, and people are so excited. And then Get Real is something that I'm just releasing this year that is more of do it at your own pace, at your own time. I say you can learn it all in 2 weeks' time. 2 weeks is the amount of time it takes for your body to make that transition to real food and for you to start feeling truly better, like feeling all of the impact of the real food that you're eating, and for your body to get to the place where it's starting to feel better. you could learn Get Real in a couple hours. So I want it to be something that's accessible and easy and doable. And if you want to have a little taste or teaser about how I teach and what I'm teaching and how it connects to these deeper things, could be the perfect option for you. So I hope that this is helpful, just sometimes understanding like how all these parts are connected. It's not just about eating real food because, oh, it's better for you, but it's eating real food because it's easier on your body because of how it changes your body physically and how it awakens your body to your senses and how you feel and your hunger and allows you to start leading your life better versus following, where you become your own guru and you become the own leader of your body. I think that's such an important thing to learn. I think especially as modern women, especially if you are a mother, if you have kids, if you have a family, if you have people around you that are absorbing the things that you do, what a way to change the direction of the next generation, where they will never have to struggle. They will always grow up knowing these things because you took a couple hours or a couple weeks out of your life to learn something that truly impacts every single day of our life. And how we feel impacts everything, how we do things, how we show up, how we treat others, how we treat ourselves. It runs so deep, and that's why I'm so passionate about this. I think about a world where our kids will never have to doubt the way to eat that makes them feel the best, or growing up in a way where they are fed and they are well nourished. So they're not going to have to struggle as much, maybe mentally or emotionally with things, that they will grow up steadier and more calm, and their bodies will just be healthier, like cellularly. But we know that with that comes the mental steadiness, comes the emotional stableness. Like, what a gift. I can only think that that would be the best gift, truly, for yourself, for your family, for the next generation and more. Like, it's time to end the diets. It's time to end the quick fixes. It's time to end all the questions and the chaos and just make things a little bit more simple and easy and steady and streamlined. Because when we do that, the way that allows us to show up in our lives is in such a different energy. It's a giving energy. It's a loving energy. You're just in such a higher vibrational state. For those of you who believe in that, like, you just operate at a completely different level when you have that foundation in place. I hope that this was inspiring to think about and even to start putting some pieces together, because it is all connected and it is all related. And so many people don't realize that, I think, because they've never experienced it for themselves. It really doesn't have to take a lot of time. This is not a long process. And I feel so passionate about creating these options and places for you all to learn that can be done quickly and simply, and that you can take it and move forward with your life and not have to spend the 20 years that I did in this turmoil, and everything felt so hard, and like nothing I ever did seemed to make a difference. And it was all so deeply connected into my mind, and then into my emotions, and into my self-worth, and into really knowing myself. And now I feel like I live this completely different life, and I respect myself. I respect my body. Like, it's all this beautiful wisdom when it's working together. And that's what I want for all of you. I want you to have that peace, and I want you to have that empowered energy around food. I want you to have that education around food. I want it to be something that you can learn and your life will change. So I hope that this is something that you'll think about and consider, because for me, it's been the thing that has changed my life completely. And it's been the best thing that I have ever done. It's been massively my biggest journey in this life. And I want to be able to turn around and help so many more people because of that, and shortcut all of it and simplify all of it so that you can take it and run and create these beautiful, epic lives of your own doing in ways that mean the most to you. That would be the biggest dream of all. Thank you guys so much for being here and listening and being open to this information. I love you all so much, and we'll see you back here next week. If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, make sure you're subscribed to the Simply Real Life podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share it with a friend or two. That would mean the world.